Hi everyone! Hi crazy people, here's Lychee and welcome to a new video. I'm doing this again. We agreed that this is pretty cool, right? So I keep doing that. This is like something a dad would make. A dad that pretends to be cool. Well, anyway. So this video today is pretty special because it's actually the first time that I filmed a cosplay process. But yeah, I'm happy I did it. I hope it's interesting, it's fun to watch. So we'll just start. So before we start, let me quickly interrupt this video to show you what my Wonder Woman cosplay actually looks like. If you want to see more of it after watching this video, of course, you can check out the showcase video on my channel or my Instagram page where I also uploaded lots of photos. So have fun now. I have my Wonder Woman cosplay in this beautiful bag. I store my cosplays with lots of love. Okay, we're starting with the pants. Ooh, my lipstick. I have super dry lips. I was wondering where it was. Here it is. All right. Everything I'm showing you now is not ironed because I've worn this last weekend and I just put it back in the bag and didn't care about it afterwards. Wow, this looks really bad. Anyway, let's pretend it's iron, okay? All right, so that are the pants. Everything I'm showing you is completely self-made, and also everything is made out of leftover fabrics. This is the first cosplay I did in 2020. I'm very happy how they turned out. This is actually the fabric of my Ariel skirt. Often I kind of struggle with making them because I sometimes have problems that they don't fit that well, but these pants are like, they fit so well and I'm so proud of myself. And here's how I made them. For the sewing pattern, I wrapped my hips in plastic wrap and tape, drew the lines where I wanted the seams to be, and carefully cut myself out of these super sexy plastic diapers. Then I traced these pieces to paper. I pinned the pattern to the fabric, drew the lines with a white tailor's mark, and added 1 cm seam allowance. I cut out the fabric and added fleece to give it some added stability since the actual fabric is very soft. I have marked a few spots on the fabric so I could easily sew them together and have a perfect match. Woo! Clothes never fit the first time around, at least mine don't, so after trying them on, I marked the part where I needed to take away some more fabric. I sewed in the zipper with the wrong color, and yeah, that's what happens when you go shopping and rely on your super bad memory. I also pretty much suck at sewing in zippers, but I linked a great tutorial in the description, so please check that out if you're interested, because she knows what she's doing and I don't. It could be better, but it also could be worse, so I'm going to live with that now. To hem the pants, I sewed a hem facing. For that I placed the pants on the fabric and traced a line around the edge. I added a few centimeters on top and cut it out. I did this for the front and back part, so I ended up having 2 hem pieces. With the right side together, sew the facing along the short edge. I placed it around the pants and sew it together. I turned the facing around and ironed it. I forgot to film that, but I stitched the facing to the pants by hand using a blind hem stitch, and ta-da! No visible seams. The belt. The belt is made out of fabric and iron-on vinyl that I used for my Mercy cosplay, and I still had a bit left and I could use it for all the golden details. So here's how I made the belt. I drew the pattern onto a piece of paper and made sure it's slightly curved to fit the shape of my waist. I pinned it onto the fabric and cut it out twice. I did the same with the golden iron-on vinyl, and sadly I had to make this out of 3 pieces and split it up because I didn't have enough material left. But it's fine, it works that way, there's just a little seam on the sides. Then I ironed on the 3 vinyl pieces, and here's why you should stick to instructions. I used too much heat the first time around and I totally ruined it. Luckily I still had some vinyl left. The second time it turned out fine. Actually fine. Removing the foil is the best thing in the world. I sewed the 3 parts together and ironed the seams apart. Make sure to always have extra fabric between the iron and vinyl, otherwise it's going to melt. Put the second layer on top and sew it together. Then you can turn out the fabric and have no visible seams. I decided to go over it with the sewing machine to add decorative seams. Make sure to use a coated sewing foot for slippery fabric like vinyl, otherwise the sewing machine isn't going to transport the fabric. All that was left for me to do was to sew it onto the pants by hand, which is always a bit annoying, but you won't get any visible seams like that. This is directly sewn onto the pants, so I don't have a problem with it slipping away, or sometimes you have to rearrange things because they don't stay in place, but this keeps everything nice together. You can close it with little... Little hooks is the term you're desperately trying to find, Pastly. You're welcome. For the stars, I've printed out lots of different sizes of stars. I cut out the stars and placed them on the pants to see what would look best. I used white heat transfer foil for t-shirts and it turned out to be a pretty bad material for it, but it's what I had left and I only wanted this to be made out of leftover materials. I ironed them onto the fabric, but I had to be super careful. Too much heat and it would melt the fabric, not enough heat and they wouldn't stick to the fabric at all. I put some leftover fabric in between the pieces to not ruin the actual fabric, and I definitely recommend using vinyl foil like the gold one here, but yeah, maybe next time. Also, my ironing board looks like a mess. Don't add me. Please. Even pulling off the protective foil turned out to be super hard. Yeah, some stars don't look that great, like especially this one here. I don't know if, I hope you can see that. Maybe I will redo this at some point, but for now it's okay, I guess. And yeah, I am very happy about these pants. I think they are my favorite part of the cosplay because they fit so well. I'm still so proud because this is very rare. Yeah, so I am very happy and they make a great butt. Okay, to the top now. This is a top and, oh god, there's so many loose threads, I'm so sorry. But hey, this is relatable content, right? So yeah, this is the top, also made out of leftover fabric. If you can see this, this is only because I didn't have much fabric left. It was just enough that the belt covers the part that you see here, the ugly part. So it's okay, it's nothing I would actually sell. I mean, nobody sees it in the end. Well, except all the people that watch this video. If you don't see it, I don't care about it. So let's talk about how I made the top. I used a pattern that I use for 90% of my cosplays, and it was a pattern from a corset dress that I altered over the years, and now it fits my body perfectly. Again, traced on gift wrapping, but this time it's penguins. Cute, huh? It turned out to be quite the puzzle to make with this small piece of fabric, but it somehow worked out in the end. I also added fleece to give the fabric extra stability. I pinned and sewed the pieces together and ironed the seams flat so that there are no ugly bulges when I sew it on top of the lining. The top is a corset with boning inside, and since I didn't want any visible seams on the outer fabric, I cut out all the pieces again for the lining. I used red cotton fabric, ironed the seams flat and sewed bias tape on top to put in the steel boning. I used what I had left and I, surprise, didn't have enough red bias tape, so yeah, but it works. I'm using steel boning, cut them and secure the ends with tape. I should finally invest in a metal scissor, but after all these years I still haven't, and I always get painfully reminded of that when cutting these things with my normal snippers. For the golden details, I placed the top on a piece of paper, outlined the shape and drew a pattern. I cut it out and pinned it to my fabric to see if I like the shape before cutting out the actual material. So this is what it looks like now. I think I'm redoing this a little bit because I would prefer it if it was a little bit, if it would cover a little bit more of this side. Maybe it looks a bit like this. Once I was happy with the shape, I traced it onto the iron-on vinyl and cut it out. I gently pinned it to my fabric using small sewing clips to make sure I don't leave any stitches. Then I ironed it onto the fabric and I used the leftover piece to protect the red satin. Pulling off the protection foil is the best feeling in the world. I love working with this material so much. I'm going over with my sewing machine to add decorative seams. I'm using a Teflon sewing foot so it transports the slippery fabric well and doesn't stick to the foot. I just had to sew the right sides of the lining and the top together and turn the fabric around. I cut little holes into the fabric and added eyelets to close the corset with a piece of string. And since I didn't have much fabric left, this is very tight. But it looks good in the end, so yep. I'm proud of this. So, what else do we have? We have the tiara. It's also just made out of fabric. I didn't use warbler or anything here. I thought it would add to the classic retro vibe, just to have everything made out of fabric and not use any new crazy materials. I made a rough pattern and drew it onto the iron-on vinyl. I ironed it to fleece to add more stability to it. Again, here's some not safe for work pulling off the protection foil. You're welcome. I cut out another piece of fabric and sewed the right sides together and turned the fabric inside out to have no visible seams. Apparently I didn't film this step, but I hope you get the idea. Sorry. And this star, I actually wanted to make the stars myself, but I don't know, I can't cut out stars. They always look super crappy. I don't know if anyone's out there who can actually cut out stars, because I can't. So I had to buy some stars, and the day when we also shot this, I went to a local craft store and was hoping to get there and just get a ton of stars, but they only had these felt stars, so I used that. It's nothing special, and I just pinned it onto my wig with bobby pins. Yeah, super easy. Oh, what else do we have left? We have these bracelets, which turn out pretty cool. It's fabric, and there's some material inside that kind of works like warbler, but it's cheaper and you can actually sew onto this material. For the pattern, I wrapped my wrist in plastic wrap and tape. Again. I cut it out and traced it to a piece of paper and to the iron-on vinyl. I'm ironing it to fleece for more stability. Ironing is a really hard word. And oh yeah, it's time to remove the protection foil. I traced the pattern onto the material called Cobra Cast and pinned the vinyl on top. You can sew gently over both materials, but make sure to use a bigger needle and don't go too fast, just in case. Then I gently heat it up. Be very careful here. Too much heat and you get ugly bulges, but with a bit of heat you can mold it just enough so it fits your wrist. So what else do we have left? We have the boot covers. Okay, there's one good boot cover and one that's not so nice. So let me check which is the good one. For one, I had plenty of time, and for the other, I had to hurry because I made it the day before the photo shoot. Okay, this is the ugly one. This is the... No, both are pretty ugly. There are still lots of loose threads hanging out. Now you know my secret. I don't cut the thread. I actually use Photoshop. Anyway, so these are the boot covers. There are some pretty normal shoes inside it. As I said, it's made out of leftover materials, so I didn't want to buy any actual boots. So I went for shoes I had left. You can easily get out the shoe and use it for another cosplay again. And if you need the boots again, you can just put it in and here you go. It's a money-saving technique. So yeah, for the boot covers, I also made the pattern myself. Again, I put on the shoes, wrapped myself in plastic foil and tape and drew the lines where the boots were supposed to be in the end and cut it out and used that as a pattern. Easy in theory, hard in practice. Here you can actually see my brain working really hard. Well, I traced it to the actual fabric and cut it out and added fleece so the fabric wouldn't wobble around. I copied the lines and marks to the fabric again so I knew where I had to sew the parts together. The zipper had to combine the two parts on the inner side. Also, the zipper didn't have to be invisible this time because it was an actual part of the design, which made it a little bit easier. Then I attached the white line at the front. I can't give you great tips here because it took me forever and I hated it. Apparently I didn't film everything because I was struggling myself, but yeah, that are the boots. I think I spent like 5 hours on one boot cover. I think it would have been easier if the fabric was actually stretchy, but it's not. It's a pretty stiff cotton fabric, and it would have also been easier if it didn't have these details. I think I am still proud of it. I think they look pretty cool. I like the retro vibe with the white visible zipper. Yep. And oops, for her lasso, I looked for something in the craft store like 2 or 3 hours before the photo shoot. Totally on time, as always. I didn't know this before, but this is actually wire. So that's why it was so expensive. And here's a hard cut right into the wig styling because I didn't mention it in the video. For this I used my old Gal Gadot Wonder Woman wig. It was in a horrible shape and I couldn't use it for a long hair anyway, so cutting and curling it up was the humane thing to do. I curled the hair with my fingers and pinned it together. I then used my steamer to curl the hair up permanently. I used a plastic bag to amplify the effects of the steam. After letting it dry for a few hours, I could simply remove the pins and have those beautiful curls all girls in the 70s dreamed of. Then I just needed to brush them out and shape the hair with my fingers. Yeah, so that is my Wonder Woman cosplay, my Linda Carter inspired Wonder Woman cosplay. Actually, it's not 100% the design of Linda Carter's version, and that is mainly because I was too lazy. I didn't want to spend so much time on this cosplay because it was just supposed to be a cosplay from leftover fabric, so I was like, yeah, I'll just mix that with the comic book design and then it's fine. Nobody would notice in the end anyway, so if you don't see it, I don't care about it. Yeah, I really hope you liked it. I am extremely proud of this cosplay, and as I said, it's one of my all-time favorite cosplays now. I will wear to many conventions, and I hope this video was interesting for you to see how I do my cosplays, and I hope you want to see more. If you do, please let me know in the comments so I know that you like it and I will do more. Please subscribe to get notified when I upload a new video. Also ring the bell so you don't miss any new videos. Yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. I always clap my hands at the end. I don't know. If no one else does, I applaud to myself. Bye bye. Wonder Woman, all the world's waiting for you.
Okay, Kamera läuft und bitte.
Und was mache ich da vorne?
Stehst entschlossen hier und guckst in meine Richtung.